That's when the motion controls only kick in. Now, this took some getting used to, um, like for about a level or two. I would still honestly prefer the traditional way, but this doesn't, entirely kill the game for me. What kills the game for me and what hurts it the most is the walker. Now, the walker is that little, like, it's obviously the ground type weapon that kind of looks like a chicken almost, like with the R-Wing transforms into this, like, chicken type thing. The walker was the most broken piece of shit this entire game has to offer. I had the worst time figuring out the walker for 2 levels. I wanted to stop playing the game. I never wanted to play it again after a walker level. Because the thing with the walker, they hyped it up so much. They hyped it up so much, didn't they, Patrick?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They hyped up the walker so much
They hyped
that
it up because it was like this was going to be like the big
this is going to be a
transformation.
groundbreaking
This is what's
feature.
going to
This
push
is
the
something that
series
you
forward.
this is something that was in Star Fox 2 and you missed out on it, but now we're bringing it to you on the Wii U and it sucks balls. It is honestly a rushed feature. Like this obviously feels like an afterthought. A
Yeah.
rushed afterthought that they tried to fit in and it doesn't work. Mostly because of the motion controls and the way that you have to kind of look about. This is from my point of view. If you can master the walker, you're a better player than me. Honest.
Yeah.
Like
I
the walker is so bad.
Well, here's the other thing I would say about it. I mean, was there really honestly anyone that was like super ready for that thing? I can't think of a single person who saw that and was like, I can't wait to try that out. I mean,
I was honestly kind of amped up to try it. I was like, yeah, let's go with the walker. This is gonna be so awesome. And now I feel slightly like I'm not slightly disappointed, very disappointed with the walker.
I wouldn't say I'm super disappointed with it because
I
I kind of expected it to be a little wonky and a little, shall we say, just, yeah, I could call it gimmicky. I was gonna say
well, it's
it was
obviously
probably a bit gimmicky. I mean,
it's obviously gimmicky, but I mean, I felt like this was gonna give us the most control possible. But then when I started playing it, it was so hard to get a target on on lock or at all, like to the point where I need to shoot the thing or even to try and move around, that this is probably one of the worst experiences I've had in a Nintendo game. By far and away.
wow, that's pretty intense.
This
I wouldn't know.
this
I wouldn't go
feature
that far.
No, I would go this far. The walker should have stayed as a Star Fox 2 concept. I wish it never would have seen the light of day, and I wish that if they maybe spent more time on it to kind of polish it up instead of rushing it out like garbage. But wishes don't come true sometimes.
The big thing I would say is, a lot of people weren't too excited about it from the get go. Everybody kept calling it the chicken walker because I mean
Well, obviously, it looks like a chicken.
it does look like a chicken, and it's a bit ridiculous for something like Star Fox, where they've had all these vehicles introduced in Star Fox 64, and that was a really good game. And then what's the next stage of evolution for Star Fox? A giant chicken. Okay, well, I'll just put it to you this way: I didn't hate it as much as him, but I did see some glaring issues to the point where I was just like,
Herring.
all they had to do was just give it a jump feature, and it would have been better. That's all they really had to do was give it a jump feature and it would have been better. But no, no. The only thing it can do is
Hover.
it can hover. It can flip. It can quickly switch which direction it's looking, and it can change back into the R wing.
It can quickly like look at a different direction. What game did you play?
No, no, no. It can quickly flip. Like if you're going one direction and you press one of the buttons, it can automatically switch back.
Ugh.
Yeah, it can do that.
Oh yeah, it was the somersault button. The Xbox.
Yeah, it absolutely can do that. So I know there's one stage without majorly spoiling stuff. There's one stage where it's a space battle, and you start out as the walker, and there's a power up right behind you, but you would never know it if you didn't press that button and flip directions really quick. So that was like the one time that helped. Any other time, it was useless. Any other time, the walker was pretty useless. It was just, it was a thing. It was a thing.
I think it was the third level. I can't exactly remember. I think it was the third level where you start that off as the walker. And I tried, to like, okay, let's just kind of mow down enemies. And it was awful. It was just horrendously bad. And then when I got to like that gyro thing, I can't exactly remember what it was called, but I'm gonna call it the gyro plane. So that big helicopter kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was so glad when I finally got to get into a different vehicle outside of the walker. I was like, thank God I get to pilot a different vehicle. And the gyro thingamajig, I'm just gonna call it the gyro. It was a little bit confusing, but once you kind of played around with it for like a minute, then you got the hang of it. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that like the walker really ruined everything for me because I don't think it was there that much. Because
If there are any Walker levels past this, I am just gonna be gritting my teeth and saying fuck this game.
yeah, I don't think either of us have finished it, so I don't know how much of the walker keeps appearing. But you start getting different vehicles as the game goes on, and you really start to get that Star Fox 64 feel, which I mean, you could tell from the very beginning when you pick this game up and start playing it. That is absolutely what Platinum was shooting for.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
of course, Nintendo was standing in the background going, "Yeah, you better." But I mean, that is exactly the kind of the kind of experience they were trying to craft for you in like a new age, a new era with the Wii U motion controls. Which, by the way, I said I was pretty sure that wasn't going to be an issue for me. I said that last week. Everybody can go back to
Yeah.
last week's episode and check that out.
Yeah.
And you see, I say that play this day, and it wasn't one bit. Didn't bother me. I really didn't see it being an issue.
With it. I had some issues with it.
So in terms of that, I had no problems with it whatsoever. It was it was a feature. I actually found if you pay attention when you're tilting the gamepad slightly, you can actually realize you don't even need to look at the gamepad if you just pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard for me, but I need to look at the cockpit view more. I've seen where it's just like, okay, it's kind of disorienting if, there are two fields of vision. Like I could look at the third person or I could look at first person. First person to me feels a little bit more comfortable, but it gets a little discombobulated, so I have to press Y to kind of recalibrate it, and it kind of messes everything up. Because I tried to do like the flip thing and all that, but then like it doesn't register like a flip when like I have my hands rested at the end of every level, and then when the level begins, it starts neutral like down on my lap, like that's neutral. So when I like flip it up, then it's just like going up. So like, oh, hit Y.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's the same thing with Splatoon. Like the moment I started playing it, I realized
no, it's not like Splatoon. It totally is not. I disagree with that.
Okay.
So the way with Splatoon is I kind of have to do more of this. I have to do more torso movements as opposed to Star Fox, where it's just kind of more like flip of the wrist kind of stuff. Maybe even some kind of arm motions and all that, but not too much. So I think there's less movement with the gamepad than Splatoon. So I just kind of disagree on that.
That's fine. I play Splatoon with the motion controls, and I do not have to do any major body movements like that. It's mainly wrist movement. In terms of that, the big thing I remember to do, and I suppose everybody else who does not use motion controls forget to do, is I recalibrate as often as possible by pressing the Y button. As soon as I realized that's the thing you have to do in Star Fox, I was golden. Never had
But
any
I feel
problems.
like I shouldn't have to do that. That just seems like a crutch almost.
I didn't say it wasn't a crutch. I just said I knew what I was doing with it.
Right. But to recalibrate every so often, it kind of like takes you out of the experience almost. So that's why I was a big proponent on traditional controls, and that's one thing Splatoon offered that Star Fox Zero does not, is a traditional control. At least to my knowledge.
What, Splatoon?
No, like Splatoon offers a traditional control, obviously, but
Yes.
Star Fox Zero does not.
Right. It does in certain areas. Like, if it's not in all range mode, you can shut that off. It's all you have to do is just go to the options and you can do it. But once you get in all range mode, it's no longer an option. And I know that like some people
So wait,
can-
wait. You can go to traditional?
you can turn off the motion controls and options.
I went to options and it said, always on or, like only when you're firing.
Maybe
That's
that's
all
what
I got. That's all I
Huh.
got.
Maybe that's what I was getting confused in. I don't know. Again, I use the motion controls the whole time. But in terms of that, you go into all range mode, and that's pretty much it. That's what you're going to get at that point. But here's what I'll tell you: it's not all bad. Having motion controls in all range mode, in my opinion, makes things a bit easier. Makes
It
things a bit
does.
better.
It absolutely does, but that doesn't make the game too much better. But I will say all range mode was kind of fun, kind of challenging a little bit. Some for good reasons, some for wrong reasons. But all range mode definitely felt a little bit more freeing with motion controls.
All range mode, especially in this one, because like I think the dogfights you have against, and surprise, surprise, I think Nintendo's already put this out here, so I'm not talking any spoilers. Star Wolf is back.
Oh my!
So when you're doing like the space battles with Star Wolf, like the dogfights, I think that that is way bigger and feels much more satisfying than in Star Fox 64. And
Well,
I
if
think
it's a
that-
reimagining of Star Fox 64, obviously you're gonna expect Star Wolf at some point.
yeah. Well, I was just saying that out there. I don't think that that's a big spoiler.
It
but
wouldn't
yeah,
be a Star
Wolf.
Fox. I don't think it would be a Star Fox game without some kind of Star Wolf.
Maybe it's just Andros repeatedly Super Mario,
Yeah.
which would not be good at all. But yeah, it's fun. The dogfights I thought were a lot cooler. Really got into it a lot more, and with the motion controls, it made me feel a bit more immersed in the game, which I appreciated. But the immersion, which I was hoping for when it came to the motion controls, while I like them, I'm not going to say that it makes the immersion better. Oftentimes, I don't feel as immersed in the game because I'm like, well, I need to check down here, need to make sure I'm recalibrated and all this going on. Again, it didn't bother me with the gameplay, but anybody who argues that it takes you out of the immersion, I'd agree immediately. I can't defend that. I just can't.
Yeah. So that to me is a flaw of Star Fox Zero. The Walker stages, I don't know how many there are, but you take the number of how many there are too many of them already. Yeah, so far it's kind of average, which is, I think, what we kind of expected going into it when we bought it, is it would be kind of an average game. If anything was more, then it would really surprise us. But if it was anything less, I don't think we would be really surprised. However, with the boxed version of the game, it came with two games, Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard. I played 3 levels of Star Fox Zero. I was like, well, let's try the other game. And I played Star Fox Guard, which is a very Captain Toad kind of game, where it's like, it's not really a standalone game on its own, but you can have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A Star Fox Guard is a tower defense, which you have 12 cameras to look at, and you can hop from camera to camera, and each camera has, a turret on it, or basically like a laser. You have to take down robots before they get to the tower, and you're helping out Grippy Toad, by the way, Slippy's uncle. So this is already a kind of a fun game.
Slip and grip, haha.
Aha! But God damn it. Um, I had more fun with Star Fox Guard than I did Star Fox Zero. Honestly, I honest to God had more fun with the tower defense throwaway game than the main game, the $60 game that I bought.
Wow.
It, I mean, it's a fun little quirky time waster almost, like something you would expect from a mobile app on a phone. Um, but I had more fun with it. That was the thing, because to me, I felt like it was a little bit of a challenge. Like it starts off very easy, but then you just kind of like get focused on one camera almost, and then you lose track of like enemies. It's like, oh shit, they're on my base. Which camera is this? 7. No, wait, it's supposed to be 8. Ah, they got me. So, yeah, I like the tower defense little mini game. Well, yeah, mini game is kind of a way to go about it because it's on its own disc, and it's just kind of like a tie-in with Star Fox Zero. But I had more fun with Star Fox Garden. Pat, if you get a chance to play it, I think you'll really like it too.
I'll probably play it tonight, actually.
In fact, I think you might. I don't know if I'm being a little bit more cynical about Star Fox Zero, but I think you might like it a little bit more than Star Fox Zero.
Well, that was something I would definitely have to see what's going on there because, again, I actually like Star Fox Zero a good bunch, so I am willing to
I'm
see
not
what
saying
it can
I
do.
hate it. I'm just saying I hate some features of it.
Yeah, yeah, no problem there. I mean, I am absolutely willing to give it a shot because why not? I love games. I love Nintendo, and try to support them best I can. And speaking of which,
Speaking of which,
they dropped the bomb on us.
they did they.
They dropped the bomb. You know what I'm talking about.
Do you want to talk about NX right now?
Let's talk about it. Let's
All
talk
right.
about how, like, because, everybody was pretty hyped.
I think everybody
Star Fox
except
just came out.
I think everybody except for you was kind of expecting Zelda to go on the NX, and you were in this complete denial.
Yeah, I was not having any of it because I was like, no, they wouldn't do that. People stuck out with Wii U. Loyal Wii U supporters have been here the whole time. They're not going to do that. They're going to stick to their guns and do what they said they would do. And
So we have a quick question in the chat here. Uh, Somebody says, "What is NX?" Well, for those who don't know, um, it'd be a kind of a shock, but there may be some people who don't know what NX is. NX is rumored to be Nintendo's next console. There's nothing definitive yet, but that's the big rumor, obviously.
yep.
Um, but we don't know what NX is going to be. Nintendo could completely swerve everybody, and I've kind of hinted at that it might be a headset, but that's highly doubtful. And the sure thing is to say that it's a new console, which
Yeah.
Zelda might go to, and they also might release the same game for the Wii U, kind of like what they did with Twilight Princess.
They are doing that. They've already announced it.
Oh yeah, that's right. They already announced.
Yeah,
Well,
they've
then,
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
they've already announced that. So whatever Project NX is, it's going to be on the shelves for us May
So this
2017.
pretty much confirms that it is a new console. They've kind of unintentionally announced that this is going to be a new console.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm getting. It's a new console. It's going to replace the Wii U. Nintendo hasn't come out and officially said that they're going to stop Wii U production, but at this point, it's safe to say the rumor's true. Wii U production is going to be done by the end of this year, and we're going to Project NX, whatever it's going to become. And in terms that you can get the new Legend of Zelda for Wii U or for Project NX. Which that's why I was saying I was the guy going, no, they wouldn't do this. They're going to stick with the loyal folks that have stuck out with Wii U. And here I am going, well, I could
Because
be
I think
wrong.
it was me who said, like, well, they might put it over to NX, and then I was with everybody else who
Yeah.
was saying it already. It's like, oh, they might go to NX. And I was like, yeah, that seems plausible. And you're
I'm
like, no, absolutely not. They won't. You were
they,
like putting all the chips down on that.
I was putting all the chips down, and I would walk. I'm walking away broke from the table,
Fuck.
and how can I put this eloquently? I am not upset by
Eloquently.
this.
Patrick, for fuck's sake. Eloquently? Eloquently?
Yes,
All right.
eloquently. Yeah, I want to be eloquent when I say this.
All
I
right.
want to. I'm not wearing a tie, but I can adjust it anyway. In terms that I could understand why Nintendo chose to do this. I'm not upset and I don't feel slighted. Mr. Kimishima, I know exactly why he would choose to do something like this because business wise it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not offended. I'm not upset. I would like to have it this year for Wii U, but it's not going to happen. So what can I say other than I'm buying an NX May 2017?
I do like, however, I do like the fact that E3 last year, I believe it was, or else it was the Video Game Awards last year. Either way, they said, "Oh yeah, Star Fox is gonna come out before Zelda." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's interesting." Wait a minute, we haven't seen any footage of Star Fox. What the fuck? So they kept word on their promise, one way or another.
Man, did they ever? Wow, that was a
Like,
swerve.
okay, we saw footage of Zelda for the Wii U, and we didn't even know about Star Fox for Wii U, and then they blurred out. It's like, oh my god, they're bringing back Star Fox, and then like they're like, oh yeah, Star Fox will release before Zelda, and we were just again mind blown. Like, what is this kind of witchcraft? Like, what are you talking about? We haven't even seen anything of the game, and lo and behold, they kept word on their promise. I feel like they could have, released Star Fox Zero for the holidays of this year, and it would have been a much more polished game. But, it is what it is. They kept word on their promise regardless.
They kept word. They kept their word in terms of that. It definitely came out before the new Zelda, but
Shocking as
well,
it is.
um, being a Wii U owner in 2016, how bad does it sting? Um,
I don't know.
it fucking stings.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I
it's
would say. It fucking stings to be a U owner in 2016
unless they
because
come up with some bombshells for E3 for the
yeah,
Wii U that we
that's
don't
the
know
only
about.
thing. That's the only thing I can think of. They'll be like, "Oh, you guys had to wait almost an entire year to hear something, but we got you this holiday season." And then they just start talking about everything that's coming out. But
They talk
this,
about Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing. They talk about motherfucking F-Zero. I'm
but
sure if they
I
just dropped
just
the, I'm sure if they just dropped the name F-Zero for either Wii U or NX, people are just gonna
yeah.
go fucking ballistic.
I just couldn't see them putting forth that kind of effort if they're moving over to NX at this point. I just can't see it. But if they did say, "Hey guys, we kind of screwed up and we had to do the NX thing, so there's going to be a new Nintendo console."
There's gonna be a new Nintendo console. That's absolutely right, Patrick. And I think we're having issues once again. We are having some little flaws and details on this. So this may be some filler time. I don't know what we're gonna do. The Metal Got Games says, "Man, I already have all the Wii U games I called want except Splatoon. I'm fine with waiting for the NX at this point." And Patrick says, "We'll be right back." So we will be right back in just a quick moment. Hang tight with us.